Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web. Today, I'm John, that's my cohort in commentary, Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. Lucha. Oh, dude, it feels so good to be pumped, to be fired up about talking about wrestling. I feel like after TLC and Raw, which I know I personally didn't like, I disliked more than you did, but we both were still pretty mad about it overall.
That's fair, because I think I disliked TLC more than you did.
Yeah, and so it all kind of evened out. But then to come to a show where we attain equilibrium again.
Well, wait. You're jumping ahead. Don't forget, 3 freaking hours worth of more WWE crap on Tuesday when we got to sit through an hour of main event and 2 hours of SmackDown.
Oh, God, yeah. You know what? Honestly, I think I repressed it all so much it's a blur at this point.
10 hours of wrestling through 3 days. And it wasn't even good wrestling. It was WWE.
Oh, my God. But yet 1 hour of Lucha Underground, and this wasn't just any run-of-the-mill hour of wrestling. No, this episode changed everything.
And I'm so depressed because we don't have Lucha Underground for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to die without it.
And I will say, you know what? This is going to be a test for Lucha Underground because this is what's going to separate it from the TNAs of the world, and that's not me trying to take a pot shot at it. I just know when TNA was switching networks, they didn't tell people about it until a week it was happening. I want them to promote the crap out of Aztec Warfare through all their social media outlets. Get people to cut promos, get people to talk about what it means to them. If you're not going to be on TV for 2 weeks, which personally I think is a grave mistake on the part of the El Rey Network, but that's just me, you need...
Look at it this way, John. We have 2 weeks without Lucha Underground, which means that we have 20 consecutive days without Lucha Underground. How many people are in Aztec Warfare?
20. Isn't that correct?
We need a promo from each person each day talking about Aztec Warfare.
Absolutely, Ashton. Completely agree with you. But that aside, I just want to say this was such a great episode. You know what I love about Lucha Underground? It seems like they have a different television structure with like what they showcase and how they showcase it every week, which seemed to be a little bit like the original ECW, because I remember reading about how Paul Heyman, say for example, Ashton, the 10:30 time slot, what you would air at 10:30, Paul Heyman would say, well, 1 week at 10:30 you'd have a match, another week at 10:30 you'd have a promo, another week a music video, and it seems like every week in certain slots Lucha Underground always has something different. Hell, they really toned down again for the second straight week, in my opinion, the cinematic vignettes, but the ones that they had were very important. So I just really loved how this show handled itself tonight. Do you have anything to add before we get into the formal review?
All I can say is, if going 2 weeks without Lucha Underground is the disease, I think NXT is going to be the cure.
Yeah, abso-freaking-lutely. And with that said, let us get right into our Lucha Underground review, where we open up hot out of the box with a recap between Dario Cueto and Johnny Mundo's issues specifically. Talking about how he screwed Mundo over the money, Mundo gets the money back, and between all that, he takes Cueto's key, and man, that key, I think we finally figured out what it was for, but we'll get to that. And yeah, just a great video package there. And then we transition from that to our first, contest of the evening, a 10-person match where, first fall to the finish. Now, me and Ashton were both studious, and we took notes on who was in it, but I'm going to hand that over to Ashton. Who all was in this, brother?
All right, we had Big Rick, we had Phoenix, Drago, Mascarita Sagrada, King Cuerno, Mariachi Loco, Pentagon Jr., Superfly, Son of Havoc, and Prince Puma.
Now, here's the difficulty, at least in my opinion, Ashton, with a match like this, is how do you even review it? Because it was utterly insane. I think it was like at one speed, and it just kept going there, and hell, maybe even accelerating all throughout. Absolutely crazy to me.
Well, then I guess it's a good thing I took notes.
Oh my God, lay 'em on us.
The first note that I have here is that we opened this match. We didn't technically open it, but the first notable thing to happen in this match was a really impressive sequence between Prince Puma and Son of Havoc, who really stood out in this match to me.
Not only did he stand out, dude, I think what this match did was it made everybody look like $1,000,000. Like, everybody, to me, looked fantastic in this match. I don't really think there was one person that looked particularly weak or looked like a joke. And hell, if there was going to be a person to fill that role, it would have been Son of Havoc, and you just said that he showed up tonight. That's how great this match was at showcasing everybody.
Absolutely. So after that, I think Puma got the upper hand, and then we had a team-up where Phoenix and Prince Puma teamed up on Big Rick to kind of eliminate him, and then when he was out of the picture, they went at each other. Phoenix kind of got the upper hand, and then we got a Tower of Doom spot where we had one guy doing a power bomb and the other guy doing a superplex, and two other guys came over and pulled the guy who was going to do the power bomb's feet out from underneath him. And then when all that was said and done, we got a shooting star press by Son of Havoc. It was great.
Absolutely beautiful to see that kind of athleticism from a guy like Son of Havoc with his prior booking. I think was absolutely magnificent. Masquerita Sagrada continues to show that smaller wrestlers of his stature can just be so legit and not comedy props or this, that, or the other. He did one really cool spot where Pentagon Jr. I think was laying on the apron and he was running on it, and Pentagon Jr. uses his legs and he flips Masquerita Sagrada over into, like, I guess a senton of sorts onto everybody else. It was just absolutely beautiful. Phoenix was a freaking beast in this match. The fluidity of how he can jump on a rope and balance himself, you know, whether it be 3 jumps or 4 jumps or whatever.
It's very, very flashy, and when it pays off, it's awesome, but it can definitely make him pay, as we saw in our main event tonight.
Yeah, we did, and believe me, brother, we will get to that, and we will have a nice discussion about that and everything surrounding it. But yeah, Phoenix looked beastly in this. Puma looked like he had the heart of a warrior here, going in with the bruised ribs and destroying everybody. He hit a 630 on Big Rick.
Yeah, he hit a 630, and Matt Striker said 450 and then some. I hate him. I hate him, John. I hate him.
You know what? Your hatred reminds me. Did we even talk about if we had any heat? Like, I was so excited to review this show. Like, I had nothing negative to say, so I just bypassed Heat of the Night. So I guess we could say, was Stryker your only, like, really big annoyance with this show?
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a Heat of the Night. I think that my Heat of the Night is that he's the guy that got picked to freaking commentate Wrestle Kingdom 9 with JR.
But I'm not even going to get into that because I am in such a good mood. I am
it's
not
like,
dude,
let him bring here's the down. Thing. I said something on Reddit about how much Stryker sucks, and the first person to reply to me with something kind of trying to counter what I said was something about how Matt Stryker is a wrestling historian and he actually calls the action in the ring. And all I can say now is when freaking I guess nobody in New Japan does a package pile driver, but tonight when Pentagon Jr. did a package pile driver, Stryker called it a muscle buster. And then when Masquerita Sagrada did a Hurricane Rana from the top turnbuckle to the outside, friggin' Stryker killed all of the friggin' coolness that move had by calling it a mini marshmallow Rana. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is really sophomoric at times, pretty obnoxious all the time, but you know what? Screw Stryker, man, because I was a step ahead of everybody else. I had commentary, I think, all but really muted for this match because I knew Stryker would be obnoxious. So I just appreciated the athleticism going on. And what I give Lucha Underground credit for is that it has their jobbers, but even their jobbers, again, have a level of credibility, as was demonstrated in this match. You had... Because, yeah, you said Drago and King Cuerno were in this 10-man match, so you had them continue their business. It was just fantastic how all these stories came together and intersected, and just how everybody looked. The finishing sequence, again, I had mentioned how Puma got a 630 on Big Rick. Phoenix had recovered. They had a back and forth. And Phoenix nailed this beautiful-looking pile driver, and Phoenix actually picked up the win here, which I think was the most pleasant surprise of the night, because I think you said it best, Ash, and you and I were talking. I think everybody and their mother would have bet the house that Prince Puma or Big Rick were going to walk away with this one.
And I think that if you and I were betting men, that we also would have bet pretty good money that one of those two guys would have won.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've never been happier to be wrong, because after finding out everything that we found out tonight, I wouldn't have wanted either one of those guys to come out at number one in Aztec Warfare. And no matter who it was, they were going to lose to Mil Muertes at the end of the night.
Exactly. And can I just say as a quick aside, because I want to give him credit too, Big Rick has really found his home in Lucha Underground because they know how to use him. I loved how every time it took, a dent with Big Rick was caused, it took all the other participants to do it, all 9 other guys. Because there were guys 1-to-1 that would get offense on Big Rick too, but he would always quickly power him down. It wasn't until everybody worked as a collective that they could really bring him down, and I just love what a monster he's been looking like since he showed up here. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Rick's been great. A couple other highlights from this first match. We got a Dragon Tail from Drago. It didn't work. This sequence was retarded. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and see if I can talk through the entire sequence that happened before losing my breath.
Okay.
Drago went for the Dragon Tail on Superfly, which was that cool-ass pinning combo that he used to beat Cuerno, but it got broken up by Cuerno. Cuerno hit Thrill of the Hunt on Drago, but got broken up by Crazy Mariachi, who hit his finisher, which was broken up by Pentagon, who hit a package pile driver, which was broken up by Mascarita Sagrada, who hit the Sunset Flip Powerbomb, broken up by Puma, who kicked the hell out of Sarita, broken up by Rick, who nails a lariat on Puma. There you go. That was ridiculous, and afterwards the crowd was doing This Is Awesome chants.
And you know what I love, too? Because it was a one fall to the finish matchup and it had 10 people in it, I think it got the appropriate amount of time. And I love that they just let
20 minutes
guys...
almost. It was like 18, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that was our opener, guys. I mean, that was our first formal contest of the night. Again, I just love the television structure of Lucha Underground week to week. You don't know what the opener's going to be like. You don't know how many matches are going to be on a card. Just the whole flow of it is fantastic. Phoenix gets the win again.
And then there was another point where there were like 3 or 4 guys on the outside, and this was right around the time. This was actually right before Mascarita Sagrada hit the, and I quote, mini Marshmallow Rana. Frickin' striker. But Son of Havoc again did this ridiculous series of flips in the ring, and he ended up doing what looked like that thing where AJ Styles will run and do a running backflip out of the ring.
Right.
It looked a lot almost like that, but it was Son of Havoc, so it was like this gigantic, like ripped monster looking guy, and he did that. It was crazy.
Yeah, Son of Havoc definitely got a lot of credibility back, I think, with his performance in this matchup.
Even though he didn't win, I completely agree, because he also didn't get pinned.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. It goes back to my earlier point. Lucha Underground definitely has their section of jobbers, for sure, but even
honestly, though, dude, most of the jobbers were in the other match. Like, tonight, in this match specifically, the only real jobber in this match was Mariachi Loco. And maybe Superfly, but I kind of feel like they want to go somewhere with him. So I'll say that up to this point, Superfly's been a jobber, but I definitely see things happening for him in the future.
Yeah, he'll probably be getting a backstory soon. I'm not even kidding about that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. So Phoenix gets the win. I'm elated. It was an amazing opening contest. And our next thing, did we get the cage vignette in between the 2 10-man matches?
Yes, we got the cage vignette immediately after this, and then after the cage vignette, we had our backstage segment where Conan was yelling at Puma for not winning that first match.
Okay, now let's just slow down just a little bit, because I want to know if you wanted to talk any, because we did watch, thanks to one of our commenters, who thank you so much. I think it was a New World Order, I think was the YouTuber user's name, and he directed us to a top 50 moves of Cage. And me and you both watched it. I was very impressed with what Cage may have to offer to Lucha Underground. I'm really excited for his debut. Yeah,
he's definitely got that kind of 5-star combination of look, ability, charisma, kind of everything you want in a pro wrestler. And my biggest question is, can he talk? That's what it comes down to for me. Because if he can talk, he can be the face of this company, whether Prince Puma wants to be or not.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It was New Wake Order. I just looked. I wanted to give him proper credit for directing us to that video.
Right.
And yeah, you know what? I'm hoping he can talk too, because if he can, let me tell you something. With the stuff that guy can do in the ring, especially his finisher, Weapon X, which I think is perfect for the Lucha Underground environment.
For those of you who haven't seen, Weapon X is basically he gets the person up into a position where it looks like he's going to go for a gory bomb, but rather than doing a gory bomb, he reaches around their chest and does an inverted, like a Sister Abigail style inverted STO on them from the gory bomb position. It's pretty ridiculous looking.
Yeah, and you know what? As far as the talking goes, I mean, I completely agree with you. If he has a personality, then nobody can stop him. But even if he doesn't, I think Lucha Underground can circumvent that by just having him do short, succinct promos.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
I'm
not saying he needs to be able to talk in order to be successful in Lucha Underground. What I'm saying is if he can talk, he'll be a heck of a lot more than just like borderline successful.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, after really seeing that and putting my preconceived notions to rest is, oh man, is this only going to be like a meathead doing only a few power maneuvers? No, he has got.
No, that's what Mil Muertes is for.
Yeah. But the thing with Mil Muertes, and we'll get to him too, such an amazing character. But now
that was my transition.
Yeah, and nothing really to say though about the Puma Conan confrontation, right? I personally think it's just going to continue to lead to the Puma heel turn. I'm still.
You know what? I'm beginning to wonder if it's not going to even be a heel turn for Puma, if it's just going to be Puma turns on Conan and Conan brings in a new heel luchador to feud with Puma.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, honestly. Maybe Puma isn't delivering the results that Conan wants.
Yeah.
And he just gets new clientele that will. And we have that kind of like how Matt Taven, when he left the House of Truth, you know, House of Truth gets Jay Lethal, and then they have that whole feud. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I would like to see Lucha Underground do something like that. I think that'd be very cool. But now, for your transition, we go to our 10-man battle royal. So we have, let's see, did you record the names for this one as well? Because I'll be honest, like I don't really have one.
Johnny Mundo, Mil Muertes, Sexy Star, Pimpinela Escarlata, Cisco, Cortez Castro, B-Boy, Famous B, Ricky Mandel, and Chavo.
Yeah, great, Ross. Great to see Sexy Star in a match like this too, showcasing her in spots like this, especially when you consider what the
now
stakes
there was one spot in this match I had a legitimate problem with. At one point, Sexy Star jumped up on Chavo Guerrero's back, and she had him in. It was like she started punching his head a little bit, but then she put him in a sleeper almost, and Chavo completely no-sold everything. Now, I can understand it if it's someone like Mil Muertes no-selling somebody's offense like that, but you're Chavo Guerrero. Seriously? And it all comes down to she's a woman, so she doesn't hit as hard. Screw that. I despise this crowd. I've said it so many times before, and I'll say it again. I want to applaud Lucha Underground for their efforts to promote the idea of gender equality, but they very clearly are not letting their actions speak as loudly as their words.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy to me, Ashton, because I think they've got something really worthwhile on their hands. But it's as you and I have talked about so many times over now in past Lucha Underground reviews. Either you go all the way with it or don't even bother putting your foot on the gas is my thing. And yeah, I can totally understand why that would perturb you because it is annoying. Again, considering the stakes that these two 10-man matches had going for them, I think it's really cool that Sexy Star got to be a part of it. But little moments like that with Chavo completely no-selling kind of take away from the splendor of it all. And I am confident, though, that one day Lucha Underground will get it right, because the idea that they're even starting this project at all shows that they must be conscious of something. So I'll let them work it out. But that said, this was another really fun match. Personally, for me, I think the one fall to the finish was better. But I think if this 10-man battle royal served to prove any purpose or serve any purpose, it was the dominance of Mil Muertes. He looked like an absolute beast. He was spearing everybody at one point in this matchup.
You know what, dude? I do agree that the first one was better, but it was really only slightly, because this second one was really, honestly, in my opinion, better structured than the first one. Because with this one, the fact that you get kind of a bunch of eliminations right off the bat, and then next thing you know, we're down to 3. And it's Muertes, Mundo, and Chavo. And Chavo gets eliminated relatively quickly. We got a really solid, like close to 5-minute one-on-one Battle Royal style match between Muertes and Mundo tonight, and I really enjoyed it.
It was amazing. I think Mundo got some great hope spots where it's like, oh, he's going to go over, but he doesn't. So did Muertes. He imposed his will throughout this thing, looked like an absolute monster. And I loved what they did with Muertes here because they made him vulnerable enough given the environment, but I don't think it was ever so much so where he stopped being a monster to me. Like, he was still able to preserve that mystique throughout.
Yep.
And at one point, Mundo goes for the end of the world, which, for those of you who don't know, that's formerly Starship Pain. Muertes gets the knees. I think they connect with Mundo's back. Muertes does a clothesline over the top. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm so happy that Mundo lost. I was really rooting for Muertes here. I thought it was the right decision for Muertes to go over, especially because we didn't see him the week prior. Again, looked dominant here. And then, Ashton, we have our little bracket here. We have Phoenix and Muertes winning their respective battle royals, and then we learn what the prize is.
Dario Cueto comes out and he says that he introduces the first ever Lucha Underground Championship, and dude, I must say, it looks amazing. It looks like an old-fashioned, like something that Bruno Sammartino would have worn or something like that. It was awesome looking. Go ahead, you want to mark out?
Yeah, I was going to say, I completely agree with you. I love what a throwback it is. It's just amazing to me. It's not flashy. It's not overly decked out. It's basic and to the point, and there's a real inherent...
It's just a leather belt with gold plates on it. That's it.
Yeah,
no freaking rhinestones, no extra, just like superfluous colors. It's just gold, and that's all it needs to be.
Exactly, but that's not all Dario Cueto has to announce, because it turns out that in 3 weeks, the belt will be contested in what Cueto calls the most brutal match ever designed, Aztec Warfare.
I love, and I just want to say this first and foremost, I love the name of this match, but I love that Dario Cueto literally said going into this that he designed it based on the ancient fighting traditions, the ancient Aztec traditions, all that kind of stuff. I cannot wait to see what this match is.
Freaking Mortal Kombat, dude. It's like Shao Kahn making the tournament. I'm sorry, the parallels are just coming out the ass. I'm like, I love it. So yeah, and then he adds on top of that, because we realize that guys like Mundo, guys like Puma, Big Rick, all them haven't even been disqualified from this opportunity. They will be there. They just won't have the extra opportunity that these two have been given, because Cueto informs Phoenix and Muertes, hey, your night's not over. You're competing against each other. The winner will get to enter Aztec Warfare last.
And the loser will have to enter Aztec Warfare first.
And you know what I love about that? I think that still makes Cueto look like such a heel, because even though you won a 10-man matchup and you had 9 other losers, you're still going to be the one to enter first if you can't take the opportunity all the way. I love the douchiness of it all. Really, this had such a vibe to me, like when Eric Bischoff first unveiled the Elimination Chamber. I just got those goosebumps of what we could expect to see in 3 weeks in Aztec Warfare. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and now, I mean, there's a little bit of irony to what you just said, because now Elimination Chamber is going away, but...
Right, yeah.
But yeah, this was awesome. I love the announcement. And then we got our match, and it wasn't really anything worth writing home about, because at the end of the day, Mil Muertes, it's one of those things where I even said it during the match. For as many flips and jumping off the ropes and cool, flashy stuff that Phoenix does, Mil Muertes gets his foot up, kicks Phoenix in the face one time, and it hurts more than anything Phoenix has done to him all match.
Oh, yeah. Mil Muertes is very basic, very straightforward, but that's the appeal, because where he finds complexity and he finds dimension is in his character.
Yep.
And I love that. And Phoenix, no disrespect to him, but he seems to be quite the opposite. Now, I don't know if he was one of the Lucha Underground competitors to get a backstory. If he was...
Not yet.
Yeah, okay then. Because I was going to say, if he did, I honestly don't remember it, and I feel bad. But hopefully Phoenix does as well. Again, I love your idea, just as a quick aside, that, 20 competitors, 20 days, and then we just do a profile of each person each day.
Yep.
I think that would be tremendous. But yeah, as you said, Muertes gets the win, wins 2 bouts in one night, still looking like the man to beat in Lucha Underground, and I love it so much. I can't wait for this championship Aztec Warfare bout. But then, and see, this is where I'm a dum-dum, because Muertes gets the win, and we have our credit roll, but I forgot that Lucha Underground has been known to have cinematic vignettes while the credits are rolling, and thank goodness Ashton had the foresight to keep his stream going, because Cueto paid a visit to somebody.
We don't know who.
Exactly. It was whoever is in that cage, and Cueto had the world title with him, and didn't you tell me, Ashton, that he said, I can't let you touch it, I know how you like to destroy nice things?
Yep.
So, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. As much as I would love for Mil Muertes to be the inaugural champion, I think whoever is in that cage is going to be the first champion. For whatever reason, I just think they're going to be unleashed on everybody. They're going to destroy, and they're going to be able to take that belt. I don't know why.
No, because to me, the only way that would work is if they were able to come out last, and we already know Mil Muertes is coming out last.
That is true. So, you know what? Maybe.
I think Mil Muertes wins the title, and then afterwards, that guy comes out.
You know what my prediction's going to be? Here's the thing. I think it's going to come down to, and I'll say it right now, it's going to come down to Mundo and Muertes. And I don't say that because of bias. I say that because Mundo has been the guy to really step up to Cueto and kind of assert himself. I think Cueto's going to see that Mundo may be closing in on beating Muertes, and he sicks the monster on him to give Muertes the assist. I could see that happening.
You know what I could see? And this is purely prediction-based.
Right, of course.
I think that this mystical, freaky monster guy might be Hernandez.
Oh, dude.
They might put a mask on him so that he's not recognizable and give him a different name and kind of brand him differently. But I have it in my head that that's who that's going to be.
Oh, dude.
Because we know he's on the roster.
Yeah. To me, I just love the hype behind it, because I know a lot of TNA. Hell, I was one. There were a lot of TNA fans that thought, he was great in singles. They loved how big he was. I mean, his nickname was Supermax, his athleticism and everything else. He is a perfect fit for Lucha Underground, and if they want to debut him this way, I have no complaints whatsoever. God, I love this promotion.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
Oh my God. And that's it, guys.
That's how we close the show.
So let's get right into our next segment, high spots and low shots. And you know what? It pains me to do it, but my low shot, in all fairness, is going to have to be Johnny Mundo. He was so close to being the second half of the equation that would have given him an opportunity to get a really great number in Aztec Warfare. He missed out. Really rough night after he had, such a great week last week. He is my low shot this week.
You know what, dude? As far as I'm concerned, Johnny Mundo dodged a bullet here, because my low shot is Phoenix, who won his match. But still, because he had to go against Mil Muertes later on in the night and got destroyed, is going to enter first into Aztec Warfare. I mean, there's still a chance that Johnny Mundo could be 19th, for all we know.
That is true. That is very true. And you know something? I think Lucha Underground would be smart to make Phoenix their Sami Zayn of Lucha Underground, because I really felt for him, man. Wins his 10-man match only to come up short when it really mattered against Mil Muertes, and that was one-on-one, but he was just so spent. And, I mean, look at who Mil Muertes is.
It is worth noting, though, that even though you could say Phoenix was spent, Mil Muertes was less fresh, because Mil Muertes had his match more recently.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Poor Phoenix. And yeah, you're right. Definitely had a rough night. My high spot, do you really even have to ask? Mil Muertes.
Absolutely.
For as much as we know right now, and I know the man in a cage is going to be the big question mark looming over everybody's head, but for the time being, Mil Muertes to me is the favorite to be the inaugural Lucha Underground Champion, which I have no qualms with. He's a great heel, a great monster. And me and Ashton have said repeatedly, a heel should be the first champion. And Mil Muertes is looking like he's going to be the man to do it, Ashton.
Yep, absolutely. And my high spot, it's more of a personal high spot just because I've been saying all night that he really proved himself to me. My high spot's Son of Havoc because he really showed me something tonight. Even though he didn't win his match, he still, in my opinion, he did more for himself as a brand than anyone else tonight.
Absolutely. And you know what, Ashton? I love that you made Son of Havoc your high spot, because if Lucha Underground can afford him the dignity of going out there and looking absolutely wonderful in a 10-man match, we can afford a guy like Son of Havoc a high slot in our program. So I love it. With that said, we have no other extra segments. So, Ashton, do you have any concluding remarks about this show before I take us home?
Just sit back, relax, and appreciate the fact that this show's 1 hour, and we will see you guys for NXT tomorrow!
I know, look at him, he's so hyped. So guys, with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, comment and subscribe on YouTube. We have gotten probably some of our best feedback on our Lucha Underground reviews. It means the world to me to have these conversations, so keep them coming. We want to know what you think about Aztec Warfare. Do you think Hernandez is the man being caged? No pun intended there for the incoming cage. Just talk to us about everything, man. Throw it all at us. And, of course, discuss on TWitWoW as well. It's a great wrestling group. And with that said, guys, we will see you again for our NXT review, where Sami Zayn, he's going to be looking to get Kevin Owens' blood on his hands. We'll see you there, guys.